I hope you heard it. I hope you heard it. I hope that you heard the drum roll. Let's do it again. Because that means that I'm live. I am live on 3 different platforms. And just for this live, for the last 2 hours probably, my internet have been terrible. Okay? My internet have been absolutely terrible. So, let's see. Let's see if it's gonna work. And as always, I'm gonna check first that I'm actually live, because who knows? Maybe I'm not. Looks like yes. Here we go. And of course, if you can already see it live, then you should absolutely write something in the chat so I can see that I'm live and that we kickstart the chat. That's another reason. Let's see, let's see. Isn't it again this time of the week where I'm going live? I feel like I'm going live every week. I don't know. I don't want to make it to an actual schedule. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm going to be streaming, going live every single week on Monday. Nah, don't want to do that. One thing that I really hate are the commitments. You're live. Alexandra, nice to see you here. How is it going with the integrations? Okay, so for those who are watching, I'm trying to open my LinkedIn Live, and because my internet is bad, it doesn't actually let me do that. But if you can watch it actually on YouTube, if you know my YouTube channel, instead of watching it on LinkedIn, that would be very nice, because it's way better there. I tell you, the LinkedIn, okay. LinkedIn might just go down at any point, like literally any point. Let me share the link so that you guys slowly but surely. David, welcome. Thanks for this opportunity. I am happy. I'm happy to do that. Nicholas, hi. Naum, hi too. Okay. So for those who know, wait, I'm still opening my freaking LinkedIn Live. It's incredible. The timing of my internet is just incredible. You have, guys, while I'm figuring this out, you have time to go get coffee or tea. I think it's too late for coffee. For me, it's 9:30 in the night. I wouldn't be able to sleep if I drink coffee at this point. Okay. So for everyone on LinkedIn, go to YouTube. This is really important. There's many reasons why. First of all, I need YouTube watch hours. Okay. This is I'll be honest. I need YouTube watch hours. Okay. This is what I need. But this is one reason. The second reason is because LinkedIn is not reliable. LinkedIn streaming sucks, okay? So LinkedIn streaming can actually go down at any point, and then we're gonna end up without any type of stream, okay? So if you go on YouTube, then it would be very nice. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, then of course do that. That's also important. That makes me feel nice, okay? Been posting a lot there. I've been posting a lot everywhere. I've been posting a lot on LinkedIn. I've been posting a lot on YouTube. I've been active on Reddit. So I've been just spinning around. So you can see, hopefully right now on my screen. Guys, how is the connection? Can you write plus if you can understand me, if you can hear well me, if you can just in general, if it feels right for you? Minus if it doesn't. Because I like the energy. Thank you. I appreciate this. Now my energy usually goes down after 40 minutes. All good on my end. Okay, Bilal, that's good. Can hear you well. You have some background music. Yes. Alexandra, that's exactly. I'm gonna turn it off. I had it so that we can get started. Okay? Because because then I would just be in silence. Why would I do that? Okay? It's perfect on YouTube. Okay, good, good. Trent, I see you're still on LinkedIn. Okay, click the link, go on YouTube. Okay? Everyone on LinkedIn, go to YouTube. Literally, I just do the LinkedIn stream just to tell you guys that you need to go on YouTube. That's literally it. So we're gonna do an interesting thing today. What we're gonna do is actually some coding. So we actually gonna code something with AI, right? So I'm staying on trend. I'm not giving up. I'm not that old. I'm still trying to catch up with all the AI stuff. So what we're gonna do today is that we're gonna basically do what you see here with the integrations. Is that we're gonna take Salesforce and we're gonna make a call out to OpenAI and we're gonna ask it to analyze an opportunity. I wanted to analyze a revenue first, but then I thought about it and I mapped out the architecture and I understood that it's not a great idea because it's kind of a little bit difficult to analyze revenue in general because you need to have some kind of quantifiable analysis and not just ChatGPT telling you, hey, good job, good revenue, very well done, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work with the OpenAI, which is a really good API. So we have here OpenAI. It's a really good API. And I assume, can you guys write plus in the chat if you have done basics, some kind of basics of integrations, and minus if you have not, right? Because if you have not, it's going to be a bit hard today. You're still going to be able to follow it, okay? Still going to be able to kind of write the code and maybe then rewatch the recording on YouTube, I hope. But you need to have at least some basic understanding of basic integrations. Plus, plus. Okay, so I see pluses. This is good. This is good. Now, basically, the reason why I want to do this live stream is because I want to show you how you take an API that you don't know anything about, which maybe you don't. I've worked with the OpenAI a little bit, so it's kind of I already know how to work with this. But I want to show you how to work with an API that you don't really know how it works and how you take this, research this API, how you play around with this API, and how you actually do with the integration what you want to do, right? How do you actually make the call outs and all of this? So this is my goal. Okay. Now, since it's a live stream, you can ask me all the questions that you have on your mind, right? Maybe it's integrations related, maybe it's general Salesforce development related. I'm happy to just chat in general. Yep. And of course, because it's a live stream, I'm probably gonna make a tons of mistake. Gonna make so many mistakes that you're gonna wonder, what the hell? How is this guy even teaching if he makes so many mistakes? He makes so many mistakes. Okay. So the first thing, let's get started immediately, right? So the first thing, let me open it here and have a look. So the first thing, you got this assignment. Your boss comes to you. Let me illustrate this because that's usually how it looks like. So it looks like, so this is your boss. Okay. He comes to you and he says, hey, you know what? You're a developer here, or you're a Salesforce admin, or you're someone who like you're the tech guy here. I heard two arms. I heard that there's this new thing, AI, right? Why don't we take our opportunities and let it through AI? Just take all our opportunities, take all our data and send it to OpenAI so that OpenAI can train even better models on them. But what we get in exchange is that we get a nice summary about our opportunity, right? So this is what we get instead. So this is you. This is you, and your boss just came with this task, gave you this task, and your task is actually to develop this whole connection, right? You take something in Salesforce, you send it to OpenAI, OpenAI gives you some kind of response. And it doesn't really matter what exactly we're going to do today, right? It doesn't really matter the specifics, because the specifics, you can always add another prompt, you can always add another thing, do it differently. But the most important is that the principles that we're going to work with, okay? How do you actually make the call out? How do you research the API? How do you make all this work, okay? And then when I'm sure you all guys have some kind of project in mind, um, that you would love to do maybe something differently, right? Okay, so your boss coming to you and saying, hey, we have this problem. Okay, what do you do? What are your first steps? Okay, what are your first steps? What would you do? Now, most people, I know what you guys would do. You would open VS Code, and you're like, okay, let's write some code, right? But this is wrong. Before you can do that, what you need to do is that you need to go and actually read the freaking API. Okay, you need to read the API. Now, whenever you read the API, there are multiple types of APIs. Okay, one type of API is this is no docs, no documentation API, and that does exist. Okay, I know that it's probably not that often, but it still exists. Okay, there are some APIs where there are no docs, there are no documentation. So the only thing that you can do is that actually go inside and start playing around with that API. Or there's another type of APIs, docs, those who have documentation. And I just cannot stress it enough. You should not go to ChatGPT or Claude and ask how to work with this API. What you need to do is to actually open this doc. It's actually what you need to do, okay? Because I know what you want. I know you want to immediately start writing code. Oh, let's code, let's do this. No, you need to understand what are you even working with. And sometimes this part of planning and reading documentation, it can take a while, and this is okay because you're observing how to actually work with the API, right? Assuming there are docs, right? But majority of APIs, they do have some kind of docs. So you have this documentation, right? And that's what we're gonna start with. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here on stream and read documentation for 3 hours. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna save you from this misery, right? But I still want to show you how to approach this documentation. So the first thing you do whenever you get any kind of API is that search for the doc, right? So OpenAI API docs, right? Now what you'll see here that there are kind of a couple of different things that you have here. You have docs, which is that documentation itself, and you have API reference. And that's going to be the case for a lot of APIs where there's going to be some stuff that is more geared more towards like just describing the actual API and what does it do. And another one will be more of a like tutorial based that's actually going to show you how to do things, right? And maybe explain how to do things, right? So the most common one. So for example, here we have introduction and then we have authentication, right? So it describes you, okay, so here's how you authenticate. Let's go to the docs. My internet. Come on. Nothing works here. Crazy. Are you guys still there? You are, I think. You are still there. Okay, let me reload this. Hey, is it working now? I still cannot click anywhere. So annoying. Okay. Let's say I'm not gonna click anywhere. I don't know why is it not opening. I don't know. This API reference, it does open. Okay, so this one works. Anyway, so see here, basically what I want to make the point is that there can be two different places where you have to research for different things, right? There might be a place where you have to actually look how to do a request, and there's might be another place that's going to actually show you how to do certain things and explain to you different things. Okay, so here, this is what we have. This is the part where it doesn't really explain you stuff. Okay, so here we can just have a look at everything that there is. And what I usually recommend is starting to just read a bunch of things and also read the stuff that you might not need. Okay, so you really need to research and understand the API. Obviously, we see that there is a lot of stuff. For example, you definitely don't need videos. Hey, wow. Nice. Okay, videos. Okay. So you definitely don't need videos, right? But you can still click on this, have a look here. Okay, nice. Now, one interesting thing that I immediately see here that I didn't know before is that they have webhooks. And this is very cool because I didn't know they have webhooks. Webhooks, if you're not familiar with the webhooks, you need to get familiar. If you're serious about learning integrations, you should be able to do webhooks. Okay, this is just basically like, I don't know, 50-60% of the whole internet works with the webhooks, so you need to be able to do that. As you see, there's also batch here, which is pretty cool. Which for everyone who works with Salesforce, batch is something familiar, right? But you can see OpenAI also has this thing on their platform. Okay, so now platform APIs, a lot of different APIs, right? Blah 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 blah. You can basically go and read this, but I already know that we need to have a chat completion API. Okay, I already know this because I did my homework. I prepared for this, and now here you can see more or less just the descriptive part of how the API works. And in most cases, what you will see is this curl format. Okay. So the curl format is basically, this is like a CLI utility, right? But this is the standard of how people annotate APIs. So if you have an API, probably to kind of show you how to make a request, how would they actually do that, right? So they want to show you how to make a typical request. How would they do it? Would they do it in Java? Would they do it in Apex, right? Definitely not in Apex, because there's almost never Apex developers, right? So see, they have here example of Python, because a lot of developers are using Python. So they're showing how to basically do it in Python. They're showing how to do it in C#, which is interesting. And usually they also show Java, right? So you can kind of see. But the most common format is this CURL or curl, and it shows you different. It shows you basically how to make this request. Like it's pretty simple, and the format is also really good because you can read it very easily, right? So what I'm gonna do is that I want to actually see the full one, and I want to make a screenshot and annotate it a little bit so we can have a look in my very cool tool here that I am using, this one. All right. So immediately what you see here, and in most cases what you will see, is this. Okay, this is the actual endpoint where we're gonna make the request. And definitely what you're gonna see, let me make it a little bit bigger so I can have more granular coloring here. Okay, so you can definitely see here the base. Then this is obviously a version, right? Version. And now here you can see the path. And usually path is the thing that's going to change, right? That's usually the thing that's changing, depending what do you want to do, right? If you want to have a completion, which in this case we want to have, then it's going to be chat completions. If you want to send a video or analyze an image, then it's going to be chat image, right? So it's usually this type of thing that's changing. Now, one thing that I can tell you from the experience is that this version, it's not changing very often. So V1 is probably going to stay for a lot of years. And I don't know, if OpenAI doesn't go bankrupt next year, then probably it's going to stay there for many, many years. For example, Stripe. I really like Stripe API. Stripe API. I'm not sure when they were founded. I'm not sure when was, let's see, Stripe Wikipedia. When was Stripe founded? 2010. So it's been 15 years, 16 years. Okay, so you can see Stripe, it's been alive for 16 years, right? So their API is 16 years old, but they only went to version 2. Okay, and it's in alpha. Okay, so you can see that those versions, they're not changing that fast. So you can pretty much assume if it's v1 somewhere, it's going to be v1 everywhere. Okay, but now from my experience, if sometimes you're searching for certain features for a very old APIs, which for example Stripe is a pretty old API, right? Then sometimes it's worth also having a look if they have a newer version of this API, because it will incorporate the new developments in the whole integration and web world. For example, with OpenAI, obviously they're a pretty new company, right? So it's they only have V1, but for Stripe, for a long time they did not accept JSON. They didn't accept JSON, right? You had to URL encode many things, and you still have to, right? So they still don't really accept. But their version 2 API, it actually does accept JSON, so it's pretty cool. And I think it also accepts more of a batch stuff in comparison to the initial one, right? So this is when I was researching how to do the Stripe integrations, then that's what I discovered. So the point is that you really want to read the documentation. You cannot really come up with all this stuff out of your head. You have to find that, okay, there's a V1 actually. Okay, let's have a look. What are the other versions of the API, right? What can they do? Maybe the new version actually fits way better to what I'm trying to accomplish. It happens sometimes, right? So the first phase is always the research phase. And I know that you're here for coding. I know that you, Igor, let's just start coding and blah blah blah. But I just cannot stress enough how important is this research phase. It is literally 60-70% of success of the integration, because the complexity of integrations, it is not coming from Apex being somehow hard. The Apex code for the integrations is easy, and you will see when when I'll show you, right, in just 10 minutes I'll show you how to do this integration, and it's easy. It's incredibly easy. There's literally nothing complicated about it, right? The complicated part is the research. The complex part about integration is actually trying to fit the system that is not Salesforce into Salesforce world, or the other way around. That's the hard part. Okay, so the data and the transformation of the data is the hard part, but not Apex, not at all. Okay, Apex for integrations is usually pretty easy. Whew, that's my that's my small rant here. I need some water after this passionate speech. Anyway, so when we look at this curl thing, you can always in the first line, you will always find the URL. Okay, then in the next lines, you will always find the headers that you need to send. You see, in this case, we're sending a JSON, which is good. Okay, now we know that we need to take the JSON header and send it. Okay, now with the authorization, we also know that we need to use this exact structure, bearer and then the OpenAI API key. We know it, okay? And we read it from the documentation. We didn't come up with this. We didn't go to ChatGPT. We know for sure that that's how it works. And now here we have an important part, right? So now we have here the actual message that we are sending. And you can see it's model, messages, then we open array, then we have an object, and object, object, and object. Okay, so it's array, and then we have object, and we have object, like this, right? This is for the messages. It's for the messages. When you look at this, it should kind of immediately click in your head how you should build the JSON in Apex. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, so you look at all of this. You can, of course, you can read it. I'm not gonna read all of this because I read it before, and because I don't wanna bore you to death with all those things. Do you guys have any questions so far? If no, we can just keep going. Yeah, whenever you have any questions, just shoot them in the chat, and I'll just see them and answer at any point. Okay. Now, one thing also that you need to actually, that's important one, is answer the question, do you really need to build this integration on your own, or is there already some kind of connector? because in a lot of cases they're going to be a connector for a lot of different things, and you actually want to use the connector instead of building your whole integration on your own. But if there's no connector, then you just have to build on your own. I'll show you. I don't know how long it's going to take me, probably like 15 minutes to build this whole integration. So you'll see how easy it is, okay? You'll see how easy it is. But if you have not so much idea about integrations in general, then, and now this is a small sales break. Now you need, if you have never done any integrations and you don't know what's going on, then you can always take this free course. It's totally free and it's going to teach you the basics of integrations. Okay, but of course, we're also going to do some basics here. All right, so let's open VS Code. And I already have here an opportunity service. Now, one thing that I'm going to do really good in this stream is that first, I'm going to build so integration. I'm going to build, like somehow the integration so it works. But then I'm going to take this code and I'm going to make it to production ready code using all the best practices and the way you should build the integrations for real world. Now, this is going to be cool. So you need to stay till the end, not just like, look, yeah, it works, and then go back. No. You need to see how it is done in the real world, because I think it is an important part of learning is to understand the best practices and how it's done. Okay. So first thing, what I like to do is to validate that there is a connection to OpenAI. The way I do it, let me open developer console. Now I know a lot of people say, hey, developer console, what are you? Are you 60 or something? Why are you using developer console? Now, I'm not using developer console to actually write the code, but I do use it for anonymous Apex, because I don't think that VS Code has a good interface for anonymous Apex. I really don't think so, okay? Now, one thing that I'm not gonna do on stream is that I'm not gonna do named credentials, okay? Named credentials. I already did them before the stream, and I already created here OpenAI named credentials. Now, the reason why I'm not gonna do this on stream, because I would need to expose my OpenAI key, which you would be able to take it, use it, and then I would need to pay from my card, okay? So the best practice for the stream or for your org to use named credentials anyway, right? So I'm not gonna be showing you my actual API keys. Wow. As if it shouldn't be a standard, right? It should be a standard that you don't show anyone your API keys. But I want to just tell you this explicitly. So we actually going to skip one step, okay? We actually going to skip one step, is the configuring of named credentials, but it's not very hard. And if you don't know how to do it, okay, for now, for the learning purposes, you can just basically write your API key into the code. It's fine. You can just learn how to do named credentials later. I am thinking about making a video about named credentials. I do have videos stored about them. I don't know. They're not as confusing as they look like, actually. So, yeah. All right. So, let's do request. Now, how do you do it? Always the same thing. HTTP request. And now here, please write the whole variable, okay? Not rec. What is this rec? Are you saving on some kind of character counts? I don't know. No, you just write the whole variable. It's way easier to understand, because I see so many people doing like this res, and what is it res? Is it result? Is it resolution? Is it what response? Who knows, right? So write your variables always fully, right? This is best practice. Just write your variables fully. Okay, so we have request. Now on this request, we need to set the endpoint, right? And this is very easy. We just say set endpoint. And what's the endpoint? We know what's the endpoint, right? We can see it here. Well, we can see it here and we can see it here, okay? This is the endpoint. And I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger here like this. Okay, so we have the endpoint. Now, for me, it's going to be a little bit different because I already have the named credentials. So if you have named credentials, then the way you work with the endpoint is that you write call out, then here 2 dots, and then you colon, I think colon in English, and then you put here OpenAI, which is the name of your named credentials, and then you put here the rest of the path, right? That's the endpoint. Request set method. What's the method? The method is obviously post, right? How do I know it? I am just reading the API doc. That's literally what I do, right? I'm not coming up here with some kind of knowledge. I don't even need to know all these things. I just see, oh, okay, this is post. Okay, good. Then I'm gonna put a post here. It's literally that easy. Literally that easy. Okay. So we're putting a post here. Okay, what's next? What's the next thing we need to do? Obviously, we're just reading here what we need to do, right? We're not coming up with anything. We're just reading. Okay, content type. That's the next thing that we need to set. We need to set a header, right? How do we know it's a header? Here, H, header, right? So content type, okay? Request, set header, capitalized. Set header accepts 2 values, right? The first value is the header name, and the second value is this thing. Literally, just reading the documentation. That's all. Like this. Okay, what's the next header? Well, obviously, we can just read it. It's authorization, right? It's authorization and blah, blah, blah. But I already have the authorization header. It's already included in the endpoint. But if you had like this bare, then you would need to put your API key like this, right? Blah, blah, blah. That would be the case, right? But again, it is not good to do it, right? Because if I go right now on GitHub and I search for the API keys, I'll find so many OpenAI API keys, and then I'm gonna use them, and I'm gonna, I don't know, like have a whatever 500 euro bill for someone, right? David asks, in name credential, what's the difference between legacy and secure endpoint? Legacy and secure endpoint. There is a legacy named credentials. When you go here, you can go to the new legacy. New legacy. Wow, I love the Salesforce formulating. So, okay, yeah. So you have new legacy here, legacy named credentials, and it's the same named credentials. They're just less powerful and a little bit less confusing, also in my opinion. The difference between them isn't that much. The only difference is that with new named credentials, I find it easier to create other authorization flows like Auth 2.0 or like other user-based flows. So basically, whenever you have some kind of authorization that you want to do with another server, you need to have some named credentials, and you can actually pack a lot of logic that's going to do automatically the authorization for you into those named credentials. I feel like that legacy were a little bit less powerful. And also the cool thing that here you have the external credentials, and you can reuse external credentials for multiple callouts. So it's like a whole different, like there's so much about it. I think I can make like a 3-hour YouTube video about it. But I don't want to. I don't want to. It's a lot of work to explain them. So I don't know. If you guys really gonna like under each video you're gonna be when are the named credentials, then maybe I'm gonna do it. But maybe Matt Harry gonna do it. Wait, did I pronounce his name correctly? Oh my god, did I just mispronounce his name? I'm sorry, coding with the force. I just I remember coding with the force. I'm sorry. Anyway, so we are back to actually making the request. Okay, now we need to do the authorization, which you need to do if you don't have the named credentials set up, but I don't need to because I have them. All right, so now with the request, what's the next thing? Well, we need to set the body, right? Because we're making a post request. Remember, every post request needs to have a body. Okay, so we have post request. Now we need to set the body. What kind of body do we need to set? Well, this whole thing, right? Let me just copy this. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna make it to a string like this, and I'm gonna say test. It's gonna be a test body, right? So it's just gonna test that it can actually respond to us. Okay. Content hello. Now we can make the actual request, and we're gonna catch the response. Okay, response, not res, as I said before, equal to new HTTP response. New HTTP response. Now, string was a response. Let's call it response body equal to response dot get body, and now system.debug response body. Now I tested this before the stream. If it's gonna fail right now, that's gonna be annoying. It's gonna be very annoying. Let's see if it's gonna fail. Execute. Wow. Wow. Response get body. And why is it the case? You're a helpful assistant. Hello. Say hi back. Execute. What? Hmm. Well, something has to go wrong. Do you guys have an idea what's going on here? Why is it going wrong? Response body, response. Let's see what does response. It's actually very, very cool. Okay. Yeah, debug the response code. Let's see. Wait, did they actually make? No, I didn't make the. Oh my god, this is so stupid. I didn't even make the call out. I didn't. Oh my god, request. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Yes, request. No, what request? HTTP. I need a freaking HTTP. HTTP new HTTP. All right. You can see what happens when you do it live. That's very typical. Request. Okay, now let's see response body. Okay, execute. Okay, this is fine. This is good, right? Because we got some kind of response from them. This is fine. We're gonna modify this because probably there's some kind of error here. Doesn't matter. The point is we got the response, right? That's the most important. It means what I want to test with this is that we actually getting some kind of response from them. It means that basically we have the connection. Okay, so it's fine. It's fine. Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take this whole thing and I'm actually gonna put it here, and I'm gonna start actually building what I wanted to build. And I wanted to build something that's gonna summarize the opportunities. So it's gonna be called summarize opportunity. And as you see, okay, I already have the opportunity service class. So basically what it's going to do is going to take an opportunity and it's going to return the summary of it, right? Opportunity to summarize. And as you see, I'm not calling it op, right? You have to be a little bit more descriptive, in my opinion, right? So at least the way I like to write code is a bit more descriptive. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna take a part of what we had here, like this, and we're gonna delete this test body because I didn't even set the body, right? That's another error. I didn't even set the body. Let's see if I set the body. Request set body test body. Let's see if it's gonna work right now. Execute. Okay, now it works. Okay, so now it works. Okay, nice. So yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff that I didn't set, didn't call, so it's fine. Now this is even better because now we know that it not only it connects, it also responds actually to you, right? So it actually does some kind of processing of what you want. Now the only thing left is pretty straightforward. But what I want you to emphasize here is that if you look at this code, this is the most basic Apex code ever. You're literally just having a request, you're setting some fields, and you're sending the request, right? So from Apex standpoint, it's not that difficult, okay? The only thing that is kind of complicated here is that you need now to basically recreate this whole JSON, right, that we have. You need to basically make this JSON work, but it's also going to be easy. I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? It's also going to be easy. All right, so what we're not going to do, we're not going to do this. And here I'm just going to, system debug is fine. I'm going to put the system debug, and now I'm going to also return response body like this. Okay, and remember, first I'm going to just build it somehow with bad code that doesn't have the production ready quality, and then I'm going to put it into and make it production ready and actually pretty. Okay, so now we need, from this opportunity, we need to build basically this map, right? This type of map. There are two ways how you can do that. Parsing, right? There are two ways how you can do it. And this is actually a really interesting example in this case. So we have parsing or serialization, deserialization, but I don't like those words because they're a little bit fancy, and I like just called parsing. So basically, you have an opportunity, which is a Salesforce thing, right? So you have a Salesforce thing, and you have an opportunity, and you need to take this opportunity and you need to make it in a JSON format. You do it with the JSON class using serialization or deserialization if you're doing it back. So here's deserialization, here's serialization. And there are two ways of doing this. The first way is using maps. And the second way is using classes. Classes, or you can say inner classes, usually inner classes, right? To decide between those two cases is a little bit of just what you prefer, but at the same time, there are kind of rules that I like to follow, which one I want to choose in this case. And actually, in this case, I don't think that any of them is necessarily way better than another one. I think you can go with any of them and they can be pretty good. The reason for that is if you look at this JSON here, you can see that there is a little bit of depth to it, right? So you can see that we would need to have this level, right? Messages. Then we would need to have an array, and inside of an array, we would need to have an object. And inside of this object, we would need to have those variables. So there's basically like three levels of depth, right? And I feel like it goes into the kind of a territory where you can argue for one or another, right? So I don't really see that classes will be so much better than maps in this case. But in most cases, I prefer classes. So in most cases, I prefer using classes. I think it makes your code way more readable. So if you can do that with classes, you should, right? So this is what I prefer. I prefer classes. Um, let's see how it's gonna go, right? So I'm still like when I was preparing it, I did it with maps just to make it faster. I also did it with classes to just like try around, and I find that both of them are fine. Okay, but eventually those are two things that you can use, right? And you need to always decide which one is better. Okay, and it goes in both directions. It goes serialization and deserialization. Now for serialization, basically taking something that is in Salesforce and making it to a JSON format. In this case, I actually prefer maps. Yeah, I actually prefer maps. Okay, so, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I just do the vibe coding, I guess. I feel what lures me more in maps or classes, then we'll see. Maybe we should do maps for the serialization and classes for the deserialization. Maybe that's what we should do. I wonder if there's some kind of arguments for one or another, except of just preference. Um, Definitely, if you have like a very deep JSON, you don't want to go with classes for sure. Okay, so now let's do that, right? So what we need to do is that we need to have a string to actually set it as the body for the request, right? So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna say string request body is equal to build request body, like this. And then obviously I'm gonna set the request body. And what do we pass in there? We pass in there the opportunity to summarize. Okay, this is the way I like approaching coding in general. I'm kind of writing first the what needs to be done, and then I can see that this part is more or less done, right? Reserved keywords. Yeah, with the reserved keywords, this is a good point. It's a good point. Then you will do maps. Oh, this is a really good point. I like it. I like it. It's a really good point. Yeah. Okay, so build request body. Now, obviously, we're gonna make it private. Okay. Why private? Because you want to have probably more private methods than public. Because when something is private, if you have some kind of bug, or if something is you need to investigate in this method, then you know that it's only inside of this class, right? Because private keyword means it's only can be used inside of this class. So it's better to use private if you can on the methods. And here we're gonna build again. We build request body, and I'm gonna put here request body. There's like 30 seconds delay between chat and your stream. And you know why? You know why, Yanis Schreiber? Because you are on LinkedIn. Because you're on LinkedIn. That's why. Because LinkedIn sucks for for streaming. So go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. It's way better, and I can read it way faster there. I can't even see your messages on LinkedIn. I can't even see them. So yeah, it's pretty annoying. So go on YouTube. Everyone who is on LinkedIn, go on YouTube. You can find my comment there with the YouTube link, and then you can go there, and it's way better there, and I can read faster. Okay, so we have request body, blah blah blah, and return request body. Here we go. Request body, and now I need my. Okay. So now we need the prompt itself, right? So string prompt. This is prompt. This is what we actually gonna put into and say, hey, summarize this opportunity, right? And now we can also add a bunch of things there. For example, we can say name, stage name. Let's see what I have in my In my notes, amount, close date. Let's just see what Copilot says. Description, owner. Nah, owner. Who cares about owner? But definitely what I want to have is account here and name of the account, right? So let's see, account name like this. And it should be end here. Account name. What else do we need to add? Account name, account industry would be nice also. Industry and annual revenue. Oh, also interesting information, right, about account. Okay, amount, stage, name. I think that's pretty much enough. Prompt. Well, let's not do prompt. Let's do request body. Let's just immediately start doing the request body. Like this, like this, like this. Okay, so this is one part. Now the next part is this. No, this is, wait, this is wrong. This has to be prompt. This is the actual prompt that we're gonna send. This is more correct. Okay, prompt, 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 prompt like this. As I said, we're gonna make it pretty later. Okay, right now we are making it not that pretty. Okay, now we're actually gonna build a map, and it's gonna be map to object in this case, right? Because when you look at the JSON structure, you can see that, okay, here it's a string, yeah, sure, but here it's a string, but here you can see that this is a list, right? And that's best represented with actual object. Okay, so now where is it? Where we have? Okay, now here we have, let's call it body, like this. And first we add their model, and of course it's not going to be a 3.5 turbo. That's a interesting suggestion. GPT 5.2. This is the newest one. Okay, this is the newest one. Okay, so this is going to be first one. What else do we need to add there? And again, look what I'm doing. I'm not even coming up with those things, right? I'm just taking what I see in the API docs and I'm translating it into Apex, and that's that simple, right? Then we're gonna have messages. So let's create messages. Let's create a list of messages. List string messages equal to the new list of string, like this, and then messages.add, and we're gonna add there. And now this is where it gets interesting, because here we're gonna add objects, right? And those objects, again, they best represented with actual maps. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna create there. How many objects do we need? We need 2 objects, right? And this is the point where it probably would be better actually to do it with classes when I look at this. But we're not gonna mix them, okay? Mixing is a bad thing. If you commit to maps, stay with maps. If you want to do classes, stay with classes. Okay, so let's create one map. The first map is going to be what developer prompt, right? And another one is going to be not developer prompt. So first map. Now here we do string to string. Developer prompt. I really have a hard time spelling prompt like this. Now you see, I'm not really doing what a lot of people do, is like using curly brackets here, because we can do that. We can do that. But I prefer the dot notation. I prefer to have everywhere the same notation. So that's the way I keep my code clean. Okay, so we have here with the role and user and content, we have prompt, right? So that's the content. Here we go, semicolon missing, the typical mistake. Okay, so this is the developer prompt. What else do we need? No, this is not a developer prompt. This actually, wait a second, I'm confused. Role developer, role user, role developer. I want to create a developer prompt, developer, and then content, you're a helpful assistant. Let's do it like this. Your content, you're helpful and funny assistant. Let's see if ChatGPT actually gonna be funny. Okay, funny assistant. Okay, now the next one is not the developer prompt, but the user prompt. Okay, user prompt. Again, it looks like we are writing here a bunch of code, but it's a very simple code, right? It's trivial, I would say. Role. Okay, it's not trivial. It's not trivial. So I should not. Yeah. Okay, and the content, and now finally the content. That's where we're gonna put the prompt. Okay, so we're gonna put the prompt. Okay, we have the prompt, and we're gonna add it. We're gonna add developer prompt. Okay, and here I need to change also user prompt. Okay, more like developer message. Actually, if we are being so accurate, it has to be developer message and user message. Okay, if we are more accurate with what we do. Okay, we put developer message, and now we put a user message like this. Okay, now we have the messages, and now what we do, we take this one out and we make it here, and now we say body put messages. Well, I hope that this actually is correct. And now we're gonna return JSON dot serialize body. Okay, so we're gonna serialize this body, and yeah, let's first test out how it looks like if we are on the right track, because I don't want to then debug so much of code that I have no idea what's going on there. So let's see. Let's call it request body equal to, and now we're actually gonna call this. Let's make it public for a second. Don't do that, okay? This is just for testing, but let's make it. And while it's deploying, I'm gonna say service equal to the new service, right? And I'm gonna call this service dot. Hey, what's up? What's wrong there? Add. Yeah, it should be put. No, wait. It should be add. Yeah, of course, because there has to be a list of map strings, of course. Of course. Okay. Now, service dot, and I'm gonna call this build request body. Build request body, and now I need an opportunity to pass there, right? And let's see if I have a call out somewhere. If I have a SOQL query, yes, I do. Opportunity, and let's actually pass it inside. We just need to make sure that we are querying the right fields, right? So we need to make sure that we have the account annual revenue, which I think we don't. Account annual revenue. Okay, what else? Account industry. We have account name. We have description, close date, amount. Do we have amount? Yeah, stage name, name. Yeah, should everything be there, I guess? Yeah, looks good. Okay, and this opportunity, this should be from my org as well. Let's see if it's there. Details, yeah, so it's there. Okay, good. You see, I already had some tests here, so let's delete it. Let's delete it. This here, okay, opportunity, we're passing it. And now system.debug. So we can see if the request body that we are creating actually is proper JSON, as we wanted to have. Execute highlighted, debug only. Seems about right. Seems about right. So it's just managed to put the model after. But it seems correct. Seems correct because we have here messages, we have an array, we have a content and role. Yeah, seems to be good for me. I don't know if you guys see something wrong with this. You can let me know. But seems good. Okay. So we have quite a monster here. Again, we're gonna make it pretty later. And you can make it pretty even if you stay with maps. It's fine. All right, so now we know that the body is approximately working. Now we actually have the HTTP. We actually send the request. We get the body. We save the body, okay? And now we need to return this summarized thing, okay? So that should already actually work. When I look at the code, I think it's already gonna do what I want to do. Okay, so let's see. Let's actually call this method on this opportunity, right? So instead of calling this method, I'm gonna call summarize opportunity, and we have the request body. So now we're gonna set opportunity description equal to request body, like this, and we're gonna update opportunity. Gonna update, and of course I'm gonna system debug, of course system debug, request body. Okay, now reminder, if you have any system debugs, you need to delete them before you deploy anything to production, otherwise they might slow down your system a little bit, and there are way better ways to do debugging. Let's first deploy this thing. I don't remember if I deployed it properly. Okay, execute highlighted. It takes some time. Let's see. Chat completion. Okay, content summary prospecting. Okay, we're still in the getting no phase. Okay, so it's working. Nice, it's working. Now you'll see though that it's not serialized, right? So you can see that basically it's not deserialized. You can see that we have here a JSON, right? So what we need to do is we need to take this JSON and we need to take out this part here, the content, okay? This is what we need to do, okay? Let's change, just to make it a little bit more fun, let's change the prompt into, please make a funny dead joke about this opportunity. Okay, that's gonna make it more fun at least. Let's see what's gonna be the joke. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so now we have the actual call out, and I don't know how long it took me, 20 minutes with some partial success and not success with errors, but you can see that the apex part is easy. Again, like a lot of people, they kind of fear this whole integrations, but from the apex perspective, it's pretty easy thing. Okay, it can get a little bit more tricky. Obviously, I'm not gonna do here like a super crazy integration on live stream, but it can get a little bit more complicated. If you guys wanna know, we're still gonna continue, right? But again, a small break, right? On Learn Apex, which you should know by this time, right? This is my platform where you learn how to code, you learn everything. The way I'm teaching you right now, I'm teaching you inside of this platform. But on top of that, there are also tasks in this platform, literally tasks that you can go and write on the platform itself, right? And at this moment here, you see, you literally write it here, right? And you run it and it checks that you did it or you did it wrong, right? And as of now, there is 800. I know I show 0. It's not correct what it shows. Wait, what the hell is this? Okay, We have 800 by this time. We have 800 by this time, 800 tasks. And there's a course on integration that is coming, okay? It's coming this week, next week, maximum next week, okay? So there's literally everything about integrations that you need to know about integrations is there. I would say everything you need to know about Apex is there, okay? At least as a beginner. That's my small ad. I need help with something, but I'm not sure you do it. Even you do might know about this. I don't know. What do you need? If it's a okay, I need to filter what I'm saying. If I was on the Twitch alone, I can, I think, make more jokes. But I don't know how. Comfy UI. Okay, so it's not only fans. So then I don't know. Then I don't know. I'm sorry. I have no idea. So let's continue with parsing. Let's continue with parsing. What we can do again, let's just stick to the maps because I prepared for you maps. Again, we can make it a little bit more beautiful. We can make it with classes as well. Let's see how it goes. Now, what I see that a lot of people here, they do something like this, right? If response blah 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 equal to 200. Whenever you have the response, you should not do this 200 thing, okay? What is the most technically complex integration you've encountered in your journey? That's a good question, actually. The hardest integration for me, it was when you do it with cubables, with chaining jobs. I found it to be one of the hardest things that you need, that you can do. Like, I don't like. Usually, the hard part of the integrations is the API that you work with. For example, I really hate Google API. I really hate it. Like, it's really bad. And yeah, and that was the worst, probably. That was the hardest because the Google API is just so bad. But in terms of Apex, I don't think I ever had any like API, any integration that actually like super challenged me. But I've been also, as a developer, my whole specialization was on integrations, and that's maybe, I don't know. So I was specializing on integrations. That's why I love them so much. I know it was never like super hard for me. I love integrations. They're incredible. So yeah, now the point is that you don't need to do this 200 thing here, right? And the reason for that is because if you want to test for some kind of status codes, like, you should kind of assume that your integration is going to be 200. If it's not, well, it's kind of part of it, but you should not incorporate this in your every response that you're making. You should assume that this is correct, that your integration is correct, and just keep going with your code. And if it wasn't correct, then your code will tell you. Your code is going to throw an exception, and hopefully at some point you have some kind of logging that's actually going to log the error, okay? But what I see here with the 200 is that you also need to keep in mind that 200 is not the only success status code. This is 201, 202. What if it's like something else? So my point is, don't check for 200 or whatever is the status code. You don't need to check it, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start immediately parsing the response. And this is what you should do, right? Whenever you have an actual integration, you just keep parsing the response. That's all you do, okay? So let's do it. We're gonna have string, and we're gonna have object, and we're gonna have here response body map, right? Pretty simple parsing as always, right? JSON deserialized untyped. If we are using maps, right, then it's deserialized untyped. If it's not, then we are using classes. And now, what do we actually get here as a response? Now I need to look again. I need to look at the here. Okay, so it gives you choices. So we definitely need to get the choices out for sure. Content, how can I assist you today? Is that the one that we are looking for? Let's see. Content, right? So it's inside of the choices. So we have the main thing, then we have choices, which will be a list. And then from this list, we're going to get again an object. And then we're going to have the message. And then we're going to get from there. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear. So now the first thing that we need to get is the list, right? Let me check it with my, with my notes. Checks out. List of objects, obviously, right? And this is called choices. Choices. Okay, so that's correct. And yeah, let's just take the first choice. So we're not going to do anything crazy. So I think what Copilot suggested was actually correct. So we're taking the first choice. The first choice. And what you can see, the Copilot suggests always like this 0, which I don't think is correct. So it's get, and then we have 0 like this. It does the same thing, but from the best practices, from the clean code perspective, it's better to have just get, because it's proper list syntax. Okay, so we have get, and now we get the message, right? So that's going to be our summary, and now we're just going to return the summary. We can even do this to make it even, I don't know, like this. But I think we need to parse it into string, don't we? Yeah, for sure. We need to pass it into string like this. First choice, get message. Okay. Deploy. Deploy. Now let's see. I'm gonna just make the same callout. Let's see if it's actually gonna deliver. By the way, when you're working with the OpenAI with the OpenAI API, remember that any type that you're making the callouts, you're actually charged money. It's not much. Those LLMs are very cheap right now, but just keep it in mind, okay? Don't make like 100 callouts, or at least you need at least set the limit that you have in OpenAI docs. You can set the limit there, and yeah, that's the way. That's the way. Now, what did it say again? From map string any to map string string. Wait, where do I have string string? Oh, it's here, object. That's how it's supposed to be. Object, of course. No, it's string string. Okay. Execute. Wait, what do you want from me? What does it want? Choices, get. Well, but this is not enough. We have, no. Message. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, so message is actually, yes, that's the way. Okay, so message is still an object if we look at here. And why does it opening DaVinci? Let me close it. Okay, so if you look here, then message, that's still an object. So we get the message, and now that's where we need to get the content. Okay, that's the way. Okay, that's the way. Summary, and now that should be working. Now that's the correct way. Okay. Execute. Execute debug only. Okay. So this opportunity task queuable passed is prospecting with no amount and a 26 close date. So basically it's like my date saying he will fix the thing. There's a plan, there's a timeline, but the budget is mysteriously null and somehow it's always in the future. Not bad. Not bad, ChatGPT. Not bad. Okay, so that should be updated here. Let's see. details. Yeah, you can see it says it has those how do you call it, like formatting things here, which we can remove if we want, right? You can remove it in the code, but I think in this case it's better to remove it in the prompt, like say something like this. Respond with just text, no formatting, like this. And then I think then it would be fixed. Okay, let's try to make the request again. But now we have the working integration, right? But we're definitely not, let's see. Okay, so yeah, so now it's another joke, and it's always going to be another joke, I guess. Yeah, now you can see we removed those things. Okay, so now you see we have here code. This code is working, okay, but now it actually important part is that not only making it work, but also just making it production ready. Because what I have here is definitely by no means not production ready code. Okay, if I see this code, I will not allow to go to production. So what we need to do is that we need to make it production ready. Okay, so how do we do it? Now, usually that means that you want to take your main method and you want to try to make it smaller. Okay. For example, it's very easy to find that here we would need to basically take it out. Okay. So we need to take it out into a separate method. So here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say, okay, this goes into private. So first of all, let's make this one private, right? Private. Now here, I'm going to make one more private, and definitely we have a string here, and I'm going to say parse OpenAI response, and it accepts response body like this, right? And we have, then we take all of this, everything that we have here, like this. Parse, let's do it like this, parse content from OpenAI response. Okay, and then we return the content like this. Parse. Okay, and here we have return summary. Okay, we have return summary. Now I can actually call this thing string summary, and we pass the response body. Okay, so this is good. This is already something. Now we can do the same to this part. Like this is way too long. Okay, so here I'm gonna just say construct prompt from opportunity. This, and it's gonna be another private method. Private string construct prompt from opportunity. Here we go. We have this string prompt equal to return return prompt, and here we're also going to have opportunity to summarize. Let's just call it opportunity to summarize. It's fine. Opportunity to summarize, and we return the prompt, and we pass it here. Okay. See, now basically what we're doing, we're taking everything into smaller methods. The smaller the method, the better to some extent, okay? So don't just go crazy with this, okay? Now here, I will also just make this whole callout into a separate method. I'll say private string, make callout, and probably I will return HTTP response. HTTP response, make callout. Again, there are many different ways how you can actually do that, right? Many different ways, make callout. And I'm gonna just take all of that, request body, like this. And I'm gonna put it here. Request, return, response. Like this. Okay. We could also get with the body, but it's fine. It's fine at this point. Okay. Make callout, opportunity to summarize. Now we're passing the opportunity to summarize inside, and we are returning the response. I could even do probably like this. Nah, it's better like this. Okay, so this is good. Summary, make a callout, then get body. Okay, so you can see basically this is still not perfect. It's still not there. But what you can see is that we made our main method just 4 lines. Even though there's like those 4 lines, they're hidden in the private methods. So there's like a lot of stuff that is going on inside of there, right? But the main method is incredibly easy to read right now. You can see, okay, we're making a call out here. We are we're getting the body, and we are parse the content from OpenAI response, right? Here, I would even call it make it OpenAI. How do we call it? OpenAI completion, right? Because chat completions, that's basically the way we called it. Completion call out, right? So we make it a little bit more specific. Okay, good, right? So that goes already in the right direction. Now what I'm gonna do here is that I'm actually gonna put the callout into a separate class. So I'm gonna create here a new Apex class, and I'm gonna say, okay, it's OpenAI callout. And in this OpenAI callout, I'm gonna have this as a public method, because you want to separate your main logic from the callout logic. So the callout logic goes into the different thing. Okay, make OpenAI completion callout. You can remove now here OpenAI because it's OpenAI class. So make completion callout here. Okay, this goes, it's still not there, but it goes in the right direction. Okay, so OpenAI callout, OpenAI callout. Now to actually make this callout, you would need to do this. That's called fully open AI callout. OpenAI callout like this. Okay, so we have OpenAI callout here now. Summary, and I think it's fine like this. Let's deploy it, and then I'm going to deploy the next one and see. Oh, why doesn't it work? Oh yeah, because we don't have the build request body. Where is it? Build request body. Then we need to take this everything. need to take everything from here to OpenAI callout basically, because most of the things are belonging there. Okay, request body. At this stage, you could make it public if you wanted. If you wanted to share this one definitely has to be public because we're going to use it. You can also argue that another one, it also belongs into the callout class. Could be. We'll see. Right? Opportunity to summarize like this. Yeah, you can argue that this one also belongs to the OpenAI callout. All right, so this is because we don't have like an actual, we don't have actual code base to integrate it in. It's hard to tell because it can be anything, right? Because right now we are basically creating it from scratch in the empty org. You would need to make this decision where to put this method. You would need to have a look at what is the architecture of already existing classes there. What are the best practices in your code? In your code base, and then you would make a decision where to put it. Put it in the opportunity service, put it in another class, how to name it, should be called service, should be called something else. All these decisions, they depend on what you already have in the org, right? So that's basically the main thing. That's the main thing. Okay. So now we have this, but this is still not there. Still, what we want to do is that we actually want to make some public constants. public static final string post method equal to post. Post method goes here. Okay, now the same thing we're gonna do with the content type and application. Content type going here and application JSON is going here, and I'm gonna call it content header. And I said content content header as well. I don't know. I'm running out of my creativity for the variables. I need your help. Let's content header type JSON. Yeah, the naming is not the best. It's not the best. Okay. Now the next thing that we need to do, the same idea. Okay, the same idea. What we do here is that we say path. Okay, we say path, and then put it here. Okay, plus path, and so on. Okay, I'm not gonna bore you here with this, but you can do it with many different things. You shouldn't do it with every single thing that you have, but a lot of them that you are using sometimes in the class, it is a best practice to put it here as a constants, right? So again, you don't need to do it for every single thing that you have here, especially when it comes to parsing, especially because we're parsing here with strings and with maps and lists. This, for example, you want to put it out. Okay, so this GPT 5, let's call it 5.2, like this, right? You do want to put it out for sure. Okay, like this, right? Why is it the case? Because if you use it not only here, you use it somewhere else, you use it in the test classes, for example, in other methods, then when OpenAI does the 5.5 GPT or whatever, or GPT-6, you will be able to easily reference and easily change this thing. Very easy, right? And if you had it down here in the code, it would be way harder to change it. Okay, would be way harder, and especially as you create classes that have more dependencies, right? Because this is just a basically very simple call out, but if you have classes that are attached and somehow coupled with this OpenAI callout, right? If you have multiple implementation, if you're building a freaking Agentforce competitor, right? So that Salesforce buys you for 100 million billion, then you would have this class that will depend on so many different things in your org. And then you would call it from many different classes. And then when you do the change here back to 5.2, it's changed everywhere. And you don't need to go in each individual class and change it manually, which would be crazy, right? So this is basically this idea on the code level where you create the constant and then you reference this constant. So if you have anything that is string related, and if you have time, and if you're not lazy like me on the stream, then it's a best practice to take your strings and almost all of them, like 90% of them, put them on top as constants. Okay, this is important. This is best practices. It is as equally important as actually making the call out. I just cannot stress it enough how important are best practices. I was hired as a developer just because my code was clean. I tell you guys, this is that of game changing. You need to learn how to write clean code. Read the books. Read the books. I have so many posts about what kind of books to read, right? You need to learn how to do the clean code. Do you guys have any questions? Phew, I'm passionate about clean code. I tell you. I am so passionate about clean code. How was it, guys? Right? Plus if it was helpful. Minus if it was absolutely not helpful. Maybe you knew already everything. Maybe you knew it. Right? Plus if you know if it was helpful. The most important thing that you have here is that, okay, Alexandra, that's good. That's good. So the most important thing here, you can see that it's not a lot of, like, it's not complicated code, easy code. You can do that, right? It's not complicated. It's easy. Everyone can do it. Integrations in Apex are not hard, okay? But if you want to learn more about integrations, then you know where to go. Okay, you know where to go. You can go here. Let me send it to you guys. Here, this is free. This is actually free. In 1 hour, you will learn there the basics of this. Right? We kind of stepped a little bit over this thing, but you'll learn the basics there. That's where you can learn the basics. Okay, easy. Integrations, easy. Apex, easy. Everything is easy. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. See you, everyone, somewhere around LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you so much, everyone. Was fun hanging out. See you around.